Our parish church is in the middle of construction as we are renovating it in order to make it ADA accessible. And so this means that we've had to move everything that we do inside of the church, mass, confessions, all the sacraments, everything's being moved to the other building right now. So we're having mass in the gymnasium on a basketball court, and we're having confessions in the parish hall, and it's changing everything about what we do. And while that certainly comes with some inconveniences, I have to say that there have been a couple of really profound spiritual lessons for myself in the midst of that I just want to share with you in the hopes that they might be helpful for you as well. The first thing that I've been reflecting on is the poverty of Jesus. When God decided to become man, he could have done whatever he wanted, right? He could have been born into a rich and powerful family if he really wanted to, but instead he chose this humble, poor couple, Mary and Joseph, and he lived with them in Nazareth. In fact, kind of the story of Christmas is maybe that's just iconic for who Jesus is. God chooses to be born into a stable among stinky animals with people who barely have any money. This is our God. And so I think about that, even in his public ministry, that he chooses poverty. He says he has no place to lay his head. He chooses to rely on the generosity of other people. I reflect on that as we at our parish are celebrating Mass in a gym. May not be the prettiest surroundings as we're sitting on folding chairs. We've got basketball hoops above our heads. And yet I know that the Lord loves the simplicity of those surroundings. I think you would have been far more likely to find Jesus in the home of a poor person than in the home of somebody rich and powerful, right? He was more likely to surround himself with things that were old and cheap than he was to surround himself with things that were brand new and shiny. And so as we celebrate the sacraments in surroundings that aren't quite the same as being in a church, they're a little simpler, I think they're a beautiful reminder of Jesus's life and a reminder of the early church. In the early church, it was illegal to be Christian. There were no beautiful churches. You were always celebrating Mass in humbler surroundings of people's homes and that sort of thing. And so we're kind of entering into that spirit a little bit. And I think that's important for us because the reality is the Lord is far more interested in the beauty of this temple, the temple of our souls, of our bodies, than the temples that we build for him that we call churches. So that's the first spiritual lesson that's really stood out for me, that we need to keep our eyes on the truth of Jesus's poverty. The second thing that I think has been really powerful for me in my prayer has been the idea that Jesus wants us to make room for him. You know, in order to move everything from our church into this other building, we've literally had to make room for everything. We've had to give up our gym in order to use that for Mass. We've had to give up a portion of our parish hall. Even our offices have had to give up some space in order to make that a sacristy with vestments and all sorts of things. We've lost storage. Yeah, there's been a lot of inconveniences, but it's also almost symbolically God is trying to break into the ordinary life that we have in that other building. I think that's a powerful symbol for me that God really wants to break into everything in our lives. I think sometimes it's easy for us to relegate God to a portion of our schedule or a space in our life. Right? Maybe we just give God an hour on Sundays, or we've just got that cross on that one wall in our house, but the rest of the house is all ours. The Lord wants us to make room for him in every possible way. We are called to love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. That means that we really need to make room for him in our houses, in our offices, in our conversations, in our schedule. He doesn't just want to be this thing kind of sprinkled into our life. That's not what Christianity is. It's not just this little bit that I get to have whenever I want to have it. We are called to make the Lord the organizing principle of our lives. We're called to order everything around him. And so I'll give you a little challenge. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, wherever you are, make that a place of an encounter with God right now. Go ahead and close your eyes. Tell the Lord you love him. Invite him to be with you in that space because God wants to make that place too a place of encounter with him. God bless you.